Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, also the host of We Need to Talk on every Sunday at noon here on Facebook live streaming. And I also post the videos back up on YouTube afterwards. So today's video is for educational and informational purposes only. The views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other damn therapist for that matter. Boom, shakalaka, done. Okay. So, bunch of questions, and I actually have some time to answer them, so here we go. Smear campaign. Why do they flip the script and tell people that you are the abuser? Well, okay, think of it this way. A narcissist has got to discredit anybody who sees them for the, hey guys, who sees them for the abuser that they are. That's simply the way it is. They cannot just, you know, allow somebody to see them for what they are. They've got to absolutely discredit them in every single way, shape, or form. So they will flip the script and say, you're the abuser. So for example, let's say you leave a relationship and you get it. This person is abusive, and you're like letting family and friends know, this is the stuff I went through. This is the abuse I suffered. This is what happened. This is how they kept me up at night. This is how they, you know, got rid of you guys. This is how, you know. So what the abuser will do is flip the script and go, no, no, you're the abuser. You're this, you're that. Hey, Megan, you're this, you're that. You're the abuser. You're the narcissist. You're the, you know, and they will use just enough psychology to convince anybody who doesn't know psychology of this. So my question is, do they have a degree in psychology? Have they worked in the field for, you know, years? Is this their specialty? Are they considered an expert witness? Probably not. So, you know, if that's the thing, then you don't want to be listening to these guys. But this is what the abuser does, is that they, hey guys, they flip the script and they accuse whoever sees them for the piece of shit abuser that they really are as being the actual abuser. And all you have to do is look at the actions. Seriously, it's like if you're being tempted to be a flying monkey by one of these fuckers, what you have to do is look at the actions of the person that they are accusing. Actions, not words, actions. So is this person a person of their word? Is this person honorable? Does this person, you know, walk the walk and talk the talk? Does the abuser walk the walk and talk the talk? Is the abuser gossiping? Is the abuser smearing? You know, if the other person is not saying a word, if there's no smearing going on, and I don't mean not say a word as in not telling your story, I mean as in not lying, you know, is the other person smearing? Is the other person going on a campaign to try to smear the other person, or are they speaking the truth of, hey, this is what happened? Now, what the smearer will do is they will make shit up and make it sound, they'll add just enough of the truth to make it sound plausible, but it's easily disprovable. Again, just like I talked about on Sunday when I said, you know, if a narcissist is, you know, claiming that they're in therapy, or an abuser is claiming that they're in therapy and that their therapist said that your therapist is dangerous, this, that, and the other thing, we are state mandated reporters. If that were the truth, there would be an open investigation. There would, by law, state law. So, you know, it's easily disprovable. So abusers will flip the script and claim that the target of abuse is truly the abuser, or the family and friends who see the abuser for what they are is really the abuser, this, that, and the other thing. Again, look at the actions. What are the actions? Did the family and friends pull the family together and have communication going and make sure that the target of abuse was socializing and having a great life? Or let's take a look at what the abuser is doing. Did they pull everybody apart? Did they lie? Did they manipulate? Did they control? Did they make sure that the person gave up their family, their friends, their hobbies, their this, their that? That's how you tell the difference, guys. That's how you stop from being a flying monkey. You listen but verify. Listen but verify. Listen but verify. And then once you figure it out, you do not have anything further to do with the abuser, because they will continue to try to attempt to control and manipulate by lying. And honestly, it's really easy to figure out if somebody's lying or not. When they make these outrageous statements, go investigate. Go investigate. So listen but verify. So there is that. That's why they flip the script, because they have to be right and they have to discredit anybody. And that includes therapists that see them for the piece of shit that they really are. So that's why they do the whole smear campaign. That is why they do the whole, my therapist said your therapist is dangerous, blah, 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 which is a load of shit. Because if that were the true case, there would be an open investigation. And that therapist would not be booked 24/7. So there you go. So that's the way to tell. It's like actions speak louder than words. What are the actions? What are the actions? Did they tear families apart or did they pull families together? That's how you know. So anyway, there that is. Okay, questions. Hang on. Yeah, they study psychology because they know something isn't right with them, and they'll use it on the target of abuse, trying to convince, because remember, they have to be experts in everything. I am not an expert in everything. You know, if you guys ask me questions I don't know the answer to, the first thing I say is, you know what? I don't know the answer to that, so go ask a lawyer, or, you know, let me go investigate and see what I can find out for you. But, or better yet, you go investigate and find out what you can find out, because I don't know everything. So, but a narcissist will insist that they know everything, literally, about everything, because they have to be experts in everything. And they're not. They're not. Unless they've got a degree in psychology, unless they've been in the field for 15 years, unless they've been, you know, and even at that, you know, sometimes you will find narcissists in the field for sure, but you will also find narcissists in the field that have tons of complaints against them. So there that is. You don't want to listen to that. You know, if they're doing this whole, I know psychology and blah, 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 and they're not a therapist and they don't have a degree and they haven't worked in the field and they're not considered an area expert, then yeah, you want to definitely listen but verify. Listen but verify. And that's the thing. It's like, it's easily disprovable what narcissists say about the family, the friends, and the target, because they're liars. If their lips are moving, they're lying. So that's what you want to look at. So, and that's why they flip the script, because they have got to discredit whoever sees them for the piece of shit that they are. So there it is. Okay. Hey guys. Okay. Questions. Oh my gosh. My Catholic parents told everyone they knew I was an atheist. Yeah, they will do that. They will smear. They will, you know, try to make you wrong. They will, oh my God, it is humid and hot today. They will try to make you wrong. They will do all sorts of stuff. So you keep just going. Here's the thing. When a smear campaign happens, you don't try to convince other people of your innocence. You don't. You just keep going. And the people who are willing to verify will come around. Okay, the people who are not willing to verify won't. And those are not people you want in your life anyway. So you let them go. You let them go with love. Let them go. Just let it go. I'm going to start singing. Let it go. Let it go. You know, you just let them go, because they're not meant to be in your life. If they're willing to believe the worst of you from somebody who is a liar, who is unable to produce the evidence that they are telling the truth, then be done. Be done. They're liars. Be done. You don't want them in your life. If they're willing to believe the worst of you, you do not want them in your life. So there it is. Okay, so there is, whoa, that question. He said he went to therapy for 5 sessions and she stopped answering his calls to schedule next appointment. This is what he told me. Would that be a liar as a therapist? No, you cannot just stop seeing a client. You can't. That's called abandoning a client. So what you do when you're a therapist and you've got, you know, I've got over 100 clients here, and I touch every single file every single week, and I make phone calls or texts to the clients. How are you doing? Did you want to reschedule? You know, I've got some time next week, you know, blah, 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 blah. So you don't ever abandon a client. That's considering abandoning a client, which again is a board offense and can be taken to the board. So again, the stories are easily discredited, because all you have to do is know that, and according to the ACA Code of Ethics, you cannot abandon a client. That means you try to contact them a minimum of 3 times, and if they do not respond, then you can discharge the file. You let them know, you know, hey, I haven't heard from you, so I'm going to discharge the file, or, you know, contacted 3 times, no response, discharge the file. Otherwise, that's considered abandoning a client. So that is a load of shit. Easily disproved. Again, narcissists come up with these bullshit lies that sound so plausible because people don't understand the ACA Code of Ethics, which, by the way, is available online. Y'all can look it up. You know, they are counting on the average Joe not understanding that that is an actionable offense. Abandoning your client is an actionable offense. So yeah, they're counting on people not understanding that. So I hope that answered the question. Okay. No, I have not heard of betterhealth.com. I don't know anything about it. Hi, Chris. If narcs aren't empathic and or genuinely care about others, how can they come across as so charming? Ted Bundy, anyone? Ted Bundy was amazingly charming. Amazingly charming. You know, psychopath. They can mimic. They are like aliens. It is literally like Predator or Alien, or, you know, where the alien pretends to be a human and is able to fake all of the appropriate responses. That's how they come across as charming. But to somebody who's trained in this, it's over the top and it's a little too charming. I mean, there's naturally empathic and charming and this, that, and the other thing. And then there is, I'm faking it and I really need you on my side, okay? And that you can just tell, or at least I can. So it's like when I have a narcissist come in and sit down with their target of abuse, you know, it's obvious to me who the problem is. So, but they're too charming. They're too charming. It's faked. It's not real. You know what I'm saying? You can tell the difference between somebody who's real and who's fake. So, but caveat, if you've been raised in an environment where it was all fake, then it's going to be harder to understand that until you start trusting your gut, which is going to be one of the other questions on here. So there is that. Hang on just a second. Hi, Andrea. Okay. So I hope that answered the question. They are charming because they're sociopaths. They're psychopaths. And psychopaths can mimic human emotion, but they don't actually feel it. So it's kind of like when somebody smiles and the smile never reaches their eyes, hello, that's a huge red flag. Huge red flag. Watch their eyes. Does the smile reach their eyes? The eyes are the mirrors of the soul, absolutely. And if their smile does not reach their eyes, ooh, Houston, you're dealing with a cuckoo for Cocoa Puff psychopath. There we go. So yeah, so watch that. Yes, they do believe their lies. They absolutely believe their lies. And they tell them over and over and over and over in order to make us believe their lies. So remember, it's brainwashing, guys. So when they tell a story and they keep embellishing it and they keep adding to it and they keep, you know, repeating it like it's God's truth, you know, that's what they do, is to try to get people to believe their story. So again, listen, but verify. Verify. Go check out what they're saying. Is this true? More than likely it's not. So there it is. Yes, they do lay it on extra thick. And their lies are their reality. Abso-freaking-lutely. You betcha. Hey, Tanya. Okay, so that was the question, why they flipped the script. Okay, what is the effect on daughters if dad was neglectful and angry towards them? Does it affect romantic relationships? Yes, absolutely. So where we learn what we are attracted to, and this is going to be a little bit Freudian here, and I'm not crazy about Freud, but is the imago that we get from our parents, our caregivers. That's where we learn what we are attracted to. So if the original wound comes from mom and dad was the one that was neglectful, and the daughter is the target of abuse, or neglected by the dad, or abused by the dad, or, you know, the dad is always angry at the daughter because clearly the dad probably has some sort of mommy issues. Hello. Then the daughter is going to have this original wound with her dad. And then what will happen is we go out into the world and we've made a bunch of decisions about ourselves subconsciously, not even recognizing that that's what we've done. And we will go seek somebody who reminds us of the parent that we had the most difficulty with, whether that is the mom or the dad. So it really doesn't matter what sex the parent is and what sex the kid is. The damage is the same. It's absolutely the same. So we go out and we try to find somebody that's just exactly like them. Why? Because in our warped little minds, we're telling ourselves, well, if I can make this person over here, love me, I will prove dad or mom wrong. And all that does is create a shit sandwich. So now you've got somebody who's just like mom or dad, whoever the problem was. You've got the original wound over here. You go, shit sandwich. Hello. Not a good idea. So yeah, it does affect our self-esteems hugely, hugely. And we go in search of somebody similar so that we can conquer it and prove the original wound wrong. That is never the way to fix the original wound. You must fix the original wound. Then you can go out and start dating, because then you are going to say, you know what? I am worthy of somebody who is not a shit sandwich. Thank you very much. I am worthy of somebody who's not going to treat me like doo-doo. So that's why I keep saying, fix the original wound. If you've got kids, you're in a divorce, or you've been in a relationship and you have kids from a narcissist, whether you're the mom or the dad, you must get those kids into therapy. You've got to get them working on self-esteem. You've got to get them working on their boundaries. Boundaries. And I'm going to talk more about that this weekend, because that is a question that I've been having over and over and over again from you guys of, how do I create boundaries? You know, I don't even know who the hell I am. How do I make things better for myself? How do I stop attracting, you know, abusers? So that's what I'm going to cover this weekend. I'm going to talk about boundaries. I'm going to talk about deal breakers, because some people are like, I wouldn't know a deal breaker if it walked up and fucked me. Well, yeah, no, you wouldn't, because you've been groomed to allow abuse from your original abuser. Hello, the original wound. You get that original wound fixed, that's going to fix everything else, and it's going to make things a hell of a lot easier. So, Inner Child Workbook, Self-Esteem Workbook. So Inner Child Workbook by Catherine Taylor, Self-Esteem Workbook by Schiraldi, Disease to Please by Harriet Breaker, Codependent No More, Beyond Codependent No More by Melanie Beattie. Am I missing? PTSD from Surviving to Thriving by Pete Walker. Get working on that stuff. Get your kids working on that stuff. If they have a narcissistic mom or dad, get them working on them. The self-esteem is going to protect you. It is. Because people who love themselves do not, repeat, do not put up with shit from anybody, because we love ourselves and we recognize this person's harmful. Nope, not going to allow it. So I'm going to talk more about that this weekend. So yeah, it does affect the kids, absolutely. And it's really important to get them into therapy. This is why if you're going through a divorce, you want to make sure to put that in the divorce decree, that you have final say on medical and that you can get them into therapy, and you get to choose the therapist. Because trust me, your abuser will choose somebody that doesn't know their ass from a hole in the ground, and they will pick somebody who is going to side with the abuser. So, because like I said, not all therapists out there know what they're doing as far as abuse is concerned. So you want to get somebody who understands domestic violence, who understands narcissistic abuse, who's up to speed on bullying, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So there that is. Every man I've dated ended up like my father. Work on the original wound. I swear to God and all that's holy, you work on that original wound, you put this bad boy to bed, you're going to stop dating people that are like your dad. So, and work on your self-esteem and the PTSD workbook and inner child work. Do it. Do it. It's for you. Do it. You're worth it. Is there any way to help them? I have 2 daughters with the narc and he's abusing them emotionally. Like I just said, get them into therapy. Get them into therapy. Start working with them on their self-esteem. How? Mirror work. Make it fun. Make it goofy. Hey kids, we're going to look in the mirror and say nice things about ourselves. I'm worthy. Hi, good morning. Have a wonderful day. It's okay for you to like yourself. That's all you need to say. Go about your business. And then at night, you come back. Hi, good to see you again. Here are 3 things you did right. And then you list off the 3 things that they did right. That's awesome, because that's self-esteem. That's getting you in the habit of saying good things to yourself. So work with the kids on that. That's the one way to do that. Get them into therapy. I finally got out of a 17-year narc relationship 2 months ago, and I'm so worried about my 14-year-old daughter. She seems to be in such a dark place. Again, get them into therapy, do the self-esteem workbook, get them talking, or journaling. Journaling is great. Teenagers tend not to be very forthcoming because they're trying to figure things out and it's scary for them. So get them a journal. Encourage them to journal. You know, if not, writing it out. I always liked writing it out, you know, handwritten. Of course, 2 reasons why nobody can read my handwriting except me. And 2, there's something very cathartic for me about writing it out. You know, I mean, I can do it on the computer too. Not quite the same, but you know, or here's another thing. Hang on just a second. Okay, this is a question. This is all kind of connected. Okay. Okay, so writing things out, yeah. So don't ever send anything to your abuser. Do not allow your abuser to see your journal. That's why I'm saying burn it. Write it and 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 burn it. Because if there's nothing there, they can't get you on it. If you're still in the relationship, if you're out of the relationship, I suggest burning it anyway. Why? because I'm a pyro and I like to burn things, but but the other thing, because I always think of marshmallows and s'mores and things like that. But the other reason of it is when you're 90 years old and you're in your rocking chair at the old age home, you don't want to go back to your journals and read nothing but bad stuff. Keep the good stuff, burn all the bad stuff, let it go. So that when you're old, you can look at your journal and go, damn, that was fun. Flip, flip, flip. I really liked that person. Flip, flip, flip. That was a great day. Flip, flip, flip. Do you see where I'm going with this? It's all about the positivity, guys. It really, truly is. So burn all of the dark stuff. Burn all of the bad stuff. Let it go. That does not mean don't deal with it, but it does mean don't hang on to it. And that's a good point. I want revenge. No, you don't. You think you do. You don't. So here's the deal. Revenge is a dish best served cold. What does that mean? That means you live your life. That means you go live well. You do you. You don't worry about the abuser or the flying monkeys or the this or the that or the drama or the blah, 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 blah. Because all revenge does is keep it going, guys. All revenge does is keep the bullshit going. And you don't want that. You don't want drama belongs on stage and nowhere else, okay? But abusers love to keep the drama going. So they will poke the bear, 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 and hope that you're gonna respond and you're gonna get outraged and enraged and angry and, you know, throw it back at them so that they can have a triangulation to continue to fight against. This is what abusers do. They always need a villain, always. And the crazy thing of it is that family and friends may have said, I'm done, peace out, and have not been in contact with either the target of abuse or the abuser for literally years. And the abuser will continue to drag up that person and try to make them the triangulation in their relationship because they are desperate to keep the focus off of themselves. So this is why revenge doesn't work, because for one thing, it's not going to make you feel better. I know you think it's going to make you feel better, but it's not. It's really, truly not. Because it's like if you really want to get rid of karma, if you really want to live a healthy life, you do not seek revenge. So revenge keeps you connected to them with a chain. It's like a chain. Thump, thump. Oh, wow, there it is. And, ooh, I'm going to get them. And, ooh, cha, 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 cha. And there's a lovely story in Buddhism where revenge is like picking up 2 hot coals, intending to throw them at somebody else, but the only person who gets burned is you. That's what hatred and anger does, and that makes you just exactly like them. You don't want that. Trust me on that one. You don't want to be like them. That's what they would do. They are petty and angry and pathetic, and they want to harm. And us, as being targets of abuse, there is that impulse, obviously, of, damn it, I want to hurt them as badly as they've hurt me. But here's the truth. They get so pissed off when we do well. They get so angry when targets of abuse live well, live their lives, have left them in the dust, do not participate in petty arguments or smearing or anything else. So, you know, abusers are the ones that smear, 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 and harm, 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 harm. Targets of abuse who are healthy and are working on themselves recognize the bullshit game and go, you know what? I choose not to play. This is crazy. The only way to win with a toxic person is to not play. So let it go. Again, Disney, let it go, let it go. I'm going to keep singing until y'all get it. So, yeah, that's the thing. Revenge doesn't work, guys, because they don't have the emotional cog to get it. What they will do is they will see that as narcissistic supply. So if you choose to keep feeding the narcissist, you have no one but yourselves to blame if they keep coming back. So once you cut off the narcissistic supply, they have no reason to come back. And they'll keep trying, but, you know, if you're just like gray rock, gray rock, gray rock, or no contact gray rock, it's no fun for them. So the best revenge, guys, is to truly work on yourselves, get yourselves healthy, move on, live well, do the things that you love. That's the best revenge, because that pisses off abusers like nobody's business, because they're so fucking arrogant that they really truly believe that you should have, you know, dried up into a pile of dust and blown away without them. Or they're so fucking arrogant that they believe that they are powerful enough to destroy you and keep you from living your dream. Don't let them. Don't let them. They have no power here. They have no power here. Just like in Labyrinth, you have no power here. Poof. So there that is. Revenge doesn't work. Live well. Let it go. Work out the anger. So how do you work out the anger? So it depends. Now, I like to both journal and I like to get physical, and it depends on how you process stuff. Some people don't like journaling. They just don't like journaling, and that's okay. So if you're more of a physical worker outer, then get a punching bag. I have a bob, you know, that's shaped like a human being, and I work out on that, and I punch the punching bag and I kick it, and I, you know, yell and scream and do whatever I need to do to get out whatever it is I need to get out. And sometimes I write things out. I like to do both. So, you know, you can either do it physically with a punching bag, or you can do it by writing things out. And just get it out. Get it out of your head, get it onto paper. Get it out of your head, get it out of your body. Start punching the punching bag. Work out the anger that way. And you can vocalize as you're doing it. You know, why are you angry? What are you feeling? What's going on? You know, that whole thing. So there are two ways to do that. Let it go, though. Let it go. You're not going to change these people. You're not. Let me just say that again. Narcissists do not get better. Their targets of abuse can, even though they've picked up fleas and things like that, if they work on themselves. If they choose not to work on themselves, there's no hope. Let it go. Let it go. Let them go. So there that is. Okay. Let's see. Where am I? Okay. Or they pretend to be the opposite at first, and we go for that love bombing, then they turn out to be the same. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, if we didn't have the wound, we wouldn't be buying the laying it on thick like that. Absolutely. I totally agree it. And I would do the mirror work every day, not just on the weekends. Do the mirror work every day. That's going to help you the most because it's repetition, repetition. So as abusers repeat for harm and for evil, we repeat the positive self-esteem stuff for good and healing. And it has to be done every day. We have to get into the habit of saying nice things to ourselves when we see ourselves, literally and figuratively. So it's a good idea to do the mirror work every single day. Would you address narcs in public professions like teachers and preachers? Yeah, I do all the time. They're everywhere, guys. They are everywhere. And they are drawn to positions of power because they can use their powers for evil against somebody who is powerless, which means somebody who's in a spiritual crisis or emotional crisis or a little kid. You know, I've talked about this in my book, which I do not have sitting on here. I don't know why. I never bring my books when I'm doing it. I should bring my books. So in my book, What's Wrong with Your Dad? I talked about, there was this preacher that was at the church that my dad drug us to, and he was abso-fucking-lutely evil to the core. He was harmful. He was evil. He harmed so many people. His ideas on God and religion and sex were warped. That's the kindest thing I can say. And they are drawn to those types of power positions so that they can harm people. So really, this is why I'm saying everyone would be wise to work on that original wound and heal yourself and get your boundaries in order, get your self-esteem in order, so that when a narcissist is coming down the road, you can see them a mile away, sidestep them, let them sail on by. So it's really disheartening to see how many abusers are drawn to positions of power. The way to fight that is you call them out. Now, are you going to make enemies? You bet your sweet bippy. It's so funny. It's like prior to me delving into domestic violence and this, I didn't have an enemy in the world. But with me speaking up and being an advocate for victims and being an advocate for the truth and being an advocate for, you know, helping people, it's amazing how many enemies I have now. And you know what? I'm okay with that because that just tells me I'm on the right path. So yeah, be prepared. When you speak up against abuse, when you speak up against abusers, you're going to get enemies. You are, and they are going to be abusers because they don't like the fact that you are shining a light on them and exposing them for the cockroaches that they are. So there it is. Yeah, so you just call it out. If you see abuse, you call it out, because to do nothing is the same as giving tacit approval, and that's not okay. And abusers love it when bystanders stay quiet. Abusers love it when the family and friends go, oh, no, 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 I don't want to get involved. Nope, I'm not going to say anything. Nope, they're adults. Nope, I'm not going to, That's how abuse thrives. A loving, kind, healthy family will speak up. A loving, kind, healthy friend will say, I'm seeing red flags and I'm concerned. So there it is. All right. Okay, hang on. Where am I? Where am I? CPTSD from surviving to thriving has been life-changing. Good. Also working on the self-esteem and workbook and disease to please. You are very welcome. I'm glad I could help. You did the work. I'm so proud of you. Good job. This is the thing, guys. I'm just, how do I explain? I am just the guide, like in a whitewater raft. You guys are the ones that are actually kind of steering the boat. I'm just pointing out where the rocks are, and it's up to you whether or not we're going to hit the rocks or whether we're going to steer around them. So you guys are the ones doing the work. And yes, I do appreciate it when you guys thank me. That is awesome to know that I'm on the right path. Thank you. Namaste. But here's the thing. Don't forget to thank yourselves. You guys are the ones that are doing the work. You're the ones that are buying the books. You're the ones that are doing the journaling. You're the ones that are getting yourselves out of the abusive relationships. Give yourself some credit. Yay. Yay, yes. Go you. Go us. Yay. Good job. Good job. And I'm glad that I could be a part of that journey. It is very gratifying to know that I've helped so many of you. So thank you. But don't forget to thank yourselves. All right. No, you cannot read a book or a journal while the narcissist around. It is a great way to get more abuse. So if you do keep a journal and you are in an abusive relationship, keep it at work. Keep it somewhere where they are not. You're going to have to be smart about this. So, and books too. You keep it somewhere where the narcissist or the abuser cannot find it. Okay, how am I doing on time? Okay, okay, yeah, Schiraldi, Schiraldi, S-C-H-I-R-A-L-D-I, Schiraldi, and I have it on my book list on We Need to Talk, so it's over there. Teens, I'm not so sure of. What you could do is you could go to, because I don't really work with teens, because obviously I drop the F-bomb like a motherfucker. So I mostly work with adults. So if you're interested in teen stuff, what I would do is I would look up Self-Esteem for Teens on Amazon. That's a good way to do it. Or, you know, Surviving a Toxic Parent, that's a good book. You know, things like that. So that's what I would do. So yeah, when we, and this is what I'm going to talk about this weekend, when we've been in an abusive relationship, we are not going to feel safe. We're not. The first little bit, we're not going to feel, probably for the first 3 years, we're not going to feel safe. So I'm going to talk more about that this weekend, how to rebuild trust with ourselves, and then out of that, how to build trust with other people and yet stay safe. So I'm going to talk about that on Sunday at noon. So dealing with self-esteem and healing is the Schiraldi book. Glenn Schiraldi, the self-esteem workbook, it covers everything. It covers like eating, exercise, you know, all realms. Self-esteem is not a fixed point in time. You can have great self-esteem in one area and absolutely crappy self-esteem in another. So start working on the self-esteem. Get with a good therapist. If you're suffering from low self-esteem, get with a good therapist. Start working this stuff through. Yes, self-help books are great, but sometimes we get stuck because we've got our own bullshit and our own stories going on in our head, and we haven't quite learned how to say thank you for your input, shut the fuck up. Why? Because I say so. And then replace it with a positive. Because I say so, you know, because you guys are the boss of this. This is not the boss of you. So you say so. Take your power back. So it's important to work with a therapist so that you can get called on your own bullshit, if that makes any sort of sense. Yeah, absolutely. It's if revenge is just more energy expended towards them, and they don't deserve it. So should we still tell our story? Yeah, fuck yeah, fuck yeah, absolutely. Lord, I just went Scottish. Yeah, absolutely. You absolutely tell your story. That's not smearing, guys, but I'll tell you what, the fucking abuser will go, oh, you're smearing me. Really? Is any of it untrue? Is it easily provable? Mm-hmm. Do you see where I'm going with that? Abusers love to flip it so that we stay silent. And the only way that abuse can survive is in silence, in darkness and in silence. Fuck that shit. Tell your story. Absolutely. And the people who are your true tribe will believe you and they will support you. They will also verify, but listen but verify, but they will support you when they realize the truth. And if they do not support you when they realize the truth, then you know what? They're not your tribe. So there that is. Okay. Okay. Yeah, this is very true. So the opposite of love is not hate. This is going to blow your mind. I'm going to say it again. The opposite of love is not hate. It's apathy. The opposite of love is not hate. It's apathy. If you are still hating somebody, you are still connected to them somehow. You are still having some sort of emotional investment, whether that's love or whatever. So the opposite of love is not hate. It's indifference. It's absolute apathy. It's like, I don't care. Like, I really don't care. So if you are still hating somebody, then you've got to work out, you know, you fell in love with a mask. You fell in love with an illusion, you know, somebody who perfectly mirrored you. So work that out. That's what you're missing. That's what you're hating, is the fact that this thing you fell in love with wasn't real. So you got to work that out. Again, get with a good therapist, start working out the feelings of anger and betrayal and hurt and sadness and loss and grief and all of this stuff for the illusion. So there that is. Okay. How am I doing on time? Okay. Read the book Nasty People by Jay Carter. Haven't read it yet? Sounds good. Okay. Oh dear. Son had an epiphany about narc mom, went no contact. He felt guilty and returned to her and tries to be and continues to be abused. It's killing his self-esteem, but doesn't see it. He does see it. So denial is a deadly thing. So here's the deal. Healthy, normal relationships do not have fear, obligation, or guilt. If there is fear, if there is obligation, or there is guilt, it is not a healthy relationship. It's a dysfunctional relationship. So that is the main reason why people return to an abusive relationship, is because they are feeling obligated, they feel fearful, or they feel guilty for taking care of themselves and saying no to an abuser. So if there is fear, if there is obligation, or if there is guilt, fog, then that is your clue that this is not a healthy relationship, period. So there that is. Encourage him to get into counseling. Okay, I finally got the strength to go no contact with my abusive older sister. She's in full smear campaign mode. I'm continuing to do me. She keeps insisting that I'm not happy and I'm the toxic one, just flipping the script. It's tough to hear it all and not respond, but knowing that's what she's hoping for makes it easier. EMDR, Chris, and 2 years of therapy will not be wasted on a narc, sister or not. You're welcome. Yeah, absolutely. EMDR is great, and it doesn't work for everybody. I just want to make that very clear. Not all modalities work for every single person. You know, some people respond really well to EMDR, some people don't. So all I can suggest is give it a shot, see how it works. But yeah, when somebody is smearing and somebody is being nasty, don't waste another second of your life on them. Go do you. Go do what you love. And that's something I'm going to talk about on Sunday, is perspecticide. They kill our perspective. They kill our sense of who we are, and that's what makes it so hard for us to figure out who we are when we leave an abusive relationship and go back out into the world. So I'm going to talk more about that on Sunday. All right. When a narc believes they know what God wants, hang on for a double dose of abuse. Those are communal narcissists. So when anybody says, God told me to, or God says this, or God says that, I'm sorry, are you Gabriel? Are you the announcer? I don't think so. So you're dealing with a narcissist. So anybody who proclaims to have the answer, you know, speaks for God. Nope, sorry, God doesn't work that way. At least the God as I know God to be. So be careful. That's a communal narcissist, and they're justifying their abuse through the Bible or through the Quran or through the Talmud or whatever it is they're using to abuse. So be careful of that. Oh, ew. Yeah, abusers weaponize everything. They weaponize food, speech, everything. If you say something they don't like, they'll punish you for it. So there we go. Okay. Okay. Yeah, they will flip everything that you say and use it against you because that's what they do. But again, guys, here's how you know whether you're dealing with an abuser or a target of abuse. Look to the actions. Look to the actions. Actions do not lie. So look to the actions. So if somebody is flipping the script and saying, you're the narcissist, you're this, you're that, look to the actions. Listen but verify. What do the actions tell you? Look to the actions. So, yep. And they basically project onto, when they're in the smear campaign, they will project onto anybody who sees them for the piece of shit that they are, everything that they themselves are doing. They're telling you who they are by what they're saying. Oh, they're dangerous, they're incompetent, they're this, they're that. Well, they're talking about themselves. Because again, if that were the truth, you would be able to see it through the actions. If the actions do not match up with what the abuser is saying, then the abuser is lying. So there that is. Okay. Stole my journal and then burned it. Told me after it was on fire what he was doing and invited me out to watch it burn. What an asshole. Yeah, they do things like that. They destroy personal property. They'll destroy personal property. They'll harm pets. They'll do all sorts of things to try to have control over you. Absolutely. Huge red flags. Huge red flags. My daughter loves that you drop F-bombs. She finds you to be real. Good. Yeah, darkness cannot survive in the light. Cockroaches scurry, it's for sure. When someone you suspect is BPD with NPD accuses the entire family of 9 people of being narcs, does it sound like they are in complete denial? Have gone no contact because the awful things said to me then while family came to my defense, and now she went off on all of them and they are also done. I guess my question is how do they, the abusers, not see that they are the problem? Okay, all right, well, here's the deal. When somebody has reached malignancy, okay, so remember, everything's on a spectrum. So down at the lower end, you've got traits of. So less than 5 of the 9 criteria for either BPD or NPD. So traits of you can work with. If it's the quiet borderlines, you can work with them. You can. If it's the hermits, you can work with them. When it starts sliding to the witch and the queen, not so much. Because by the time in the borderline world they get to the witch and the queen, the ego is so ginormous that they will not mostly take a look to see what their part of it is. And the same thing with NPD. When they have slid into malignancy and they are actively harming somebody and actively smearing somebody and doing it intentionally and doing it with the intent to harm and enjoying it, they have slid into malignancy. Their ego by this point is so ginormous that they are unwilling to take a look at what their part of it is. So they won't see what they've done. When they've slid into malignancy, stick a fork in them, they're done. They're done. There's no there because now it's all ego. So if they are still, down towards the end and they kind of recognize that what they're doing is wrong, there's a shot, there's a chance. But if they're enjoying what they're doing, nope, there's no chance at all. And they choose not to see it because their egos will not allow them to. So the ego is the one that lies. The ego is the one that comes up with story. The ego is the one that tries to protect us, but the way it protects us is through lying. And that's not real. A real person goes, yo, my bad. Here's where I messed up. Here's how I'm going to clean it up. I am sorry I hurt you, and it will not happen again. And then it doesn't. But with ego, it is, I was really angry when I said that, and it's all your fault because you made me, and da-da-da-da story. Do you see that? Do you see the difference? It's like a real person without the ego running the show goes, you know what? I fucked up. I am sorry. It will not happen again. It was my fault. I take responsibility. But somebody who's in ego goes, I'm sorry, but you. I'm sorry, but I'm sorry. You made me, or I was angry, and da 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 da. Bullshit, bullshit. You are 100% responsible for what you say 24/7, whether you are angry or not. That's a load of crap. That sounds like narcissistic abuse. That's bullshit. Because a real person takes responsibility. And a real person, let me just take that a step further, knows what they're going to say before they say it, and they make sure that what's coming out of their mouth is truthful and not a lie and not harmful and not intended to hurt. So there you go. All right. It breaks my heart they don't see what they're doing with the whole family. We are also upset about it, but definitely supporting each other. Good. Go no contact. Stay no contact. If they're to the point where it's blame, 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 the you guns, be done. Be done. There's no changing them. Be done. Fear, obligation, and guilt sounds like most religions. Yeah, exactly. Ding! On the nose. Yeah, you got it. That's exactly it. Not all religions. I mean, you know, like Nadia Bolz, I fucking love her. She's so fucking real. I'm just like, God damn, woman, I fucking love you. Nadia Bolz is awesome. And I love the church that she runs, Church for All Sinners and Saints. And it's up in Denver. I think she just retired. But I love her. She's awesome. She's real. And she does not put up with fear, obligation, or guilt. She doesn't, because that's not what God as we know it is about. So, and of course, she and I are both, you know, recovering alcoholics. So, you know, it's there it is. Yeah, absolutely. All right. How can you tell, how can telling your story come across from a place of strength versus sounding like a victim? What are you doing to work on yourself? If you read my book, What's Wrong with Your Dad, you'll notice that I talked about how I overcame that. What did I do to make myself better? How did I start working on myself? That's how you tell your story. It's like, wow, I recognize the abuse. This is what I'm doing now. This is what I'm doing in the future. You know, I'm helping myself. I'm getting myself sound and safe and this, that, and the other thing. And I am going to start helping or working with victims of domestic violence or targets of domestic violence or whatever. So here's the thing. When we tell our story, you don't want to tell it from a, poor me, and this happened and that happened. It's like, no, motherfucker, this asshole fucking did this, 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 and this. I didn't see it because of the original wound of this, 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 and this. Now I recognize the original wound, and this is how I'm working on myself. Do you see the difference? It's like, it's never a little world's tiniest little violin. It's like facts, figures, facts, figures. This happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. This is how I'm addressing it. This is where I want to go from here. That's how you stop telling it from a victim perspective. Victim perspective is when we sit there and go, poor me, feel sorry for me. Bullshit, motherfucker. We don't need anybody to feel sorry for us. What we do need to know is that, or what we do need people to know is that there are abusers like that out there. And this is how they act. And this is what they do. And this is the exact script that they're going to use or that they are using because they have the exact script no matter where in the world they are. I cannot emphasize that enough. No matter what country, no matter what culture, no matter what sex, they say and do the exact same things. And the only way that we are going to stop people like that is to educate the living shit out of every person on the face of the fucking planet as to what abuse is. And as to what codependency is, and as to why these people do what they do. So yeah, don't be a victim. Come from a position of power. Come from a position of this happened to me, this is how I'm fixing it, and this is where I want to go with it. There you go. But your abuser is going to tell everybody that you're playing the victim. And you cannot control the abuser, guys. You can't. They're going to say and do whatever it is they're going to say and do. Guess what? Doesn't matter. Again, the only person that matters is you. So let them go and you go live your life and you tell your story and you be honest and you be truthful and you be a warrior for light. That's our job. So there it is. I hope that answered the question. My husband and I have been smeared by his ex, and his adult kids have been alienated against him by her, but his family still interacts with her. Do parents do her favors when she asks, and others are Facebook friends with her? They are good people, but nothing we say helps, and isolation just grows. So, you know, here's the thing. People are going to believe what they're going to believe. You surround yourself with your tribe, period. You surround yourself with your tribe. That's all you can do. And you keep speaking the truth, and that's all you can do. And eventually, maybe not in this lifetime, eventually the truth will come out, and you don't worry about it. You let it go. You live your life, live well. And especially if the kids are adults, let it go. Go live your life. Go live well. Eventually the truth will come out. There you go. All right. How to accept that your parent is abusive. I understand my mother was and is still abusive, but I keep finding excuses for her behavior and I feel like I'm unable to move on and start to heal as a result. Okay, so this is normal, guys. This is normal, and this is the first step in your healing. So when I recognized that my dad was absolutely batshit crazy, and I knew it from a pretty young age, but as a teenager, when I was getting ready to move out, when it was obvious that I had to or I was going to die, either by my hand or his, it's hard to accept that because we have been indoctrinated with this idea that all parents are loving and kind and supporting and parental, you know, maternal, paternal, you know, caring, wanted us, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And not all parents do. So we are not only coming up against reality, but we are also coming up against societal expectations that all parents are good parents. And that actually leads me into another question. Narcs who demand to have kids, either naturally, in vitro, adopted, or foster, does it feed their ego? Yeah, absolutely. My dad made very, very clear that the only reason he wanted children was to prove he was virile. I'm sorry, what? Yeah, it's an ego thing. It's an ego thing. And people who truly want children take care of them after they're born. Okay? I cannot say that enough. So what ego-driven people do is they do the same thing that ego-driven sponsors do at AA. So ego-driven sponsors at AA collect as many sponsees to them as they possibly can. Look at me. Look at all these sponsees I've got. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Okay? So narcissists and abusive parents, what they do, if they're having children for any other reason other than they want to have a child to raise them, to teach them, to encourage them, to send them out into the world and make the world a better place, if they're having this child to, and this is what abusers do, they have children to connect themselves to the target of abuse because now guaranteed connection for the rest of their lives. They have children to feed their own ego. They have children if they're communal narcissists so that they can go to all of these events and go, look at all of these foster children I have, look how fabulous I am, but then as soon as the doors close, they're abusing the shit out of them. Or they adopt and they ignore the kid. You know, it's like, oh, look at how wonderful I am. I adopted this child. And then they treat the child like a second-class citizen as opposed to their son or their daughter. So it is an ego thing. It is, if they are treating this child as a second-class citizen, if they are abusing them, or if they are getting pregnant in order to keep themselves connected to the target of abuse, that's not love. That's not really wanting a kid. So yeah, they absolutely do that. And you watch for their behavior. How do they treat the kids out in public? How do they treat them behind closed doors? And that's how you tell. What narcissists do is they basically abandon their own children. They do. It's like they're happy to have them to show the world that they're virile or that they, you know, that they've connected themselves now to the target of abuse or that they're good people because they've adopted all these kids or are fostering all these kids. But if they abandon them emotionally, if they're not taking care of their emotional needs, if they're abusing them, if they're harming them, if they are ignoring them, neglecting them, and then telling them things like, this was my dad's favorite thing to say, you know, it's all your fault I can't retire. And I finally, this is part of the reason why I had to move out. I finally looked at him and I said, you know what, asshole? I'm not the one who didn't wear a condom X number of years ago. Which ended up getting me slapped across the room, which is also why I eventually moved out. So they love to blame the kids for their choices. So yeah, absolutely they do that. Absolutely. They intentionally have children to connect themselves to their target of abuse. They absolutely get kids adopted and fostered so that they can show the world how, you know, magnanimous they are, but in behind closed doors, they're neglecting them, they're avoiding them, they're not teaching them anything, they're, you know, telling them what a burden they are, they're making sure to, you know, be the martyr, you know, that whole bullshit. So yeah, that abusers absolutely do that shit. Absolutely. All right. So where was I? Okay. Oh, parents. So when we acknowledge that our parent is abusive, that's the first step in healing. because we get out of the denial. It is what it is. And what we try to do, because we've been so conditioned by society, et cetera, we go, no, 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 that can't be true. No, no, my mom and my dad love me. No, 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 they had my best interest at heart. Stop, stop. If they were physically abusing you in any way, shape, or form, if they were mentally abusing you in any way, shape, or form, if they were emotionally abusing you in any way, shape, or form, if they were neglecting you, they did not have your best interest at heart, sweetheart. They didn't. Get out of denial. Recognize the truth of their behavior. It doesn't mean anything about us. It speaks volumes about them. But when we are first in recovery, we make it mean something about ourselves. We're not good enough. Oh, not good enough, not good enough, not good enough, not good enough, because that's what they've told us. And that's what we've started to believe. So again, it's really important when we start recognizing that our parent did not have our best interest at heart, did not really want us, did not really want to interact or play with us. Or, and that's another thing. Do they play with the kids? Because people who really want children play with the kids. They do. They spend time with them. They enjoy. It's like you can't wait for them to wake up so that you can play with them, so that you can see them, so that you can talk to them, so you can teach them, so you can, it's a brand new day, let's go do this. That's what healthy, normal parents do. Unhealthy, dysfunctional parents are pissed off when the kid gets up, angry when the kid gets up. How dare you take time away from me? Yada, yada, yada. Why did you have children? So acknowledging that this was not normal is the first step. There's a great book called Toxic Parents. I think it's by Susan Forward, I think. That's a great book. So start acknowledging the reality of it. Write down everything that they did to you. Honestly, that's going to help you in your first steps of your journey. You have to get out of denial. You have to stop making excuses for the abuser. And that's what we've all been trained to do by the original wound, is we have been trained to make excuses for the abuser. You got to stop that. There is no excuse. There is no excuse for abuse or neglect. There is no excuse. I cannot say that enough. So that is your first step. Okay, I want to make sure I'm running out of time. My abuser has all my passwords. What do I do? Basically, you're screwed because you're going to have to change your passwords, and then they're going to demand to have all your new passwords. So be prepared, and you're probably going to need to start making a safety plan to get the hell out of there. You do not ever want to give anybody your passwords. You don't. I don't have John's passwords. He does not have my passwords. It's nobody's business. Now, do I openly share stuff? Yeah, you betcha, because I got nothing to hide. But abusers will be like, well, if you trusted me, you would, you'd let me go through your phone. Bullshit. Bullshit. There is no reason to go through somebody else's phone, ever. Even if there was an affair. I'm sorry, you're going to start rebuilding trust. You're not going to be going through this person's phone. Thank you. Either they're doing what they should be doing or they're not, and you'll know, and you don't need to go through their phone. So, but abusers will not allow any privacy whatsoever. So if you have given your abuser all of your passwords and they're frantically looking on all of your stuff, you're screwed, guys, because you've just given them the keys to the castle, and now they are going to put on a keystroke logger. They're going to do apps that will follow you. They're going to do, so if you're interested in getting rid of the abuser and electronically, you're going to have to change all your passwords. In an extreme case, you're going to have to get a new computer, a new phone, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you use a password that they cannot guess at, which means you mix letters and numbers and it's random, but it's something that you can remember. So, you do something like that. So you don't ever give your passwords out. You just don't, because I have seen cases where the abuser has gone on as the target of abuse and pretended to be the target of abuse in order to cause and create chaos with family and friends. And they do that. Or they go on and they put keystroke loggers on, and they put GPS stuff on, and they put tracking devices on, and they can turn on the microphone and blah, 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 blah. And it causes havoc. That's why when I'm dealing with somebody who's in a domestic violence situation and they are with the abuser still, I make them leave their phone out in the other room in a drawer, because I don't want the microphone coming on. I don't want the camera coming on. And they are probably demanding to know what's going on in the therapy session anyway. So they just don't need to know. So anyway, there that is. Hang on. Constantly looking at their social media. How do I stop? Okay. So the reason we look at our abusers' social media at least in the beginning when we're healing, is because we're addicted to them, okay? The intermittent positive rewards. Oh, they're nice to us, nice to us, nice to us, horrible, 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 nice, 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 horrible, abusive, not, abusive, not, abusive, not. It's just like being on a roller coaster. So we are addicted to them. And in order to get that high, we either call them up in our memory or we go online and we start stalking their pages. Stop it. Seriously, it's no different than stopping a substance. The best way to stop a substance is to stop fucking using that substance. So that means you block them. And when you have the thought, oh, I want to go see what they're doing. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. Why? Because I say so. I am healthier than that. I do not care what my abuser is doing, even if you don't believe it. You tell yourself that because you're going to retrain your brain, because right now you're acting like Pavlov's dog. It's like, I need that hit. I need that hit. I need that hit. Oh, I want to see my abuser. Oh, I want to see this person. No, you let it go, baby doll. You tell yourself it's not healthy because it's not, and then you don't fucking use, period. It's just like recovery from a substance. Stop giving yourself that, hair of the dog. So what you're going to do is you're going to block them, you're going to defriend them, you're going to block them, you're going to block every possible way, and then you're going to remind yourself that you're not going to do that, and you're going to do something else. So every single time that thought pops up and says, why is this person okay? All right, I gotta go. So, all right, sweeties, I will talk to you later. I gotta go. Have a great day, and thanks for listening, and I'll answer more questions probably on Sunday. So remember, Sunday is going to be about boundaries. All right, talk to you later. Bye.